Well guys, what's going on? Welcome back to LOI Fan TV. I'm sorry, I know it has been a little while, but look at this. My laptop screen did smash completely a couple of months ago, and that is the reason why the content has been lacking as of late, to be honest. Huge apologies on that front, but we will have a lot of content coming into the end of the season now. Obviously the last game of round of fixtures is of course this Friday, and then we have the small matter of the FAI Cup final the following weekend as well, so we're going to have so much content leading into that as well, so make sure to stay tuned. If you're going to enjoy this video, please do drop a like down below, and please do subscribe if you're new around here as well. It is always much appreciated. But yeah, obviously as you can see from the title, we are going to be looking at the last kind of big significant thing to be decided in the League of Ireland this season in the last round of fixtures. We of course have our champions decided in Shelbourne Rovers. That's wrapped up the title in a victory last week at St. Pat's, and they obviously won 2-0 in that game to wrap up the title. St. Pat's and Derry have confirmed their places in European football for next season, wrapping up the second and third place slots in the league. And then the bottom, UCD of course have been relegated to the first division, and Cork City have been guaranteed in 9th place. They will go into the relegation playoff fixture. So the last thing to be decided in the last round of games is of course the last European spot. Now there's so much jeopardy and so much at stake here, and it probably will not be fully decided on the last game of the season. We will go on to that in a little bit, but the three sides that are still capable of finishing in fourth, we of course have Bohemians in 6th place on 55 points. We have Dundalk in 5th place on 55 points as well. They are ahead of Bohemians on goal difference, and they did beat Bows last week in Oriel Park to keep the race going to the last day for themselves, so they're still well in the mix. And of course we do have Shelbourne, who are in pole position to wrap it up. They are 2 points clear of both sides. They are on 57 points, but they probably have the toughest fixture of the lot on the last day. We'll start off with Bohemians in 6th. Now of course they have the route of the FAI Cup final, which we will talk about in a little bit. They of course have that route as well. They still have that massive game to play in the Aviva Stadium on the 12th of November, but for them it's looking unlikely that they will be able to make 4th spot at this stage. They of course do have a very winnable game in their last fixture. They play at home to Cork City, who will have all their eyes, as I said, on that relegation playoff game. So Bohemians should be wrapping up 3 points at Dalymount Park on Friday night to keep them in with the mix and hoping for a bit of a miracle elsewhere. Then we of course have Dundalk, who travel to the Bowl to play already relegated UCD. Now the students are a tricky one because they're kind of in that position where they don't really have anything to play for, so there's no real pressure. Just so they can kind of go out there, play their own game, enjoy it, and a lot of them might be kind of playing for a move to a Premier Division side next season, so there could be something to play for there for them as well, trying to impress. And of course we saw them at Talcott Park last Friday night pushing Shelbourne to the very end, only just missing out through a goal in the last couple of minutes, but they put up a good fight, and they will definitely try and fancy their chances against Dundalk and try finish the season on a high for them. So it might not be as easy as first deemed on paper, but Dundalk will be looking to maybe rack up the goals there. It's an interesting one for them because Shelbourne, who are in front of them 2 points clear, they have the toughest game, as I said, so it's very likely they could actually just get a draw in that game. So then Dundalk may need to rack up the goals. I think they're a good few goals behind Shells on goal difference, but this is the type of game where they could fancy, if they go 2-0 up early on, they could be kind of grabbing the ball out of the goal and going again, trying to get 5 or 6 to try and make up that gap in the goal difference. And it kind of reminds you of Istanbul a few years ago when Crystal Palace played Liverpool at home in the Premier League. I think it was 2015-16 or something. Liverpool needed to rack up the goal difference. They took a 3-0 lead, and then they were getting the ball out of the goal, bringing it back to the halfway line, and of course Crystal Palace hit them on the counter attack and actually got back to 3-all. So Dundalk will be looking to avoid any kind of silliness on that side of things, but they would be looking to maybe rack up the goals if they get into a position to do so. But of course the priority for them is to get the 3 points. And then we have Shelbourne in 4th place, 2 points clear of the other two sides that I've previously mentioned, so definitely in pole position to secure 4th spot this season. And no matter what happens really in the final round of fixtures, it's been a fantastic season for Damien Duff's men. To be in this position with 1 game to go is testament to the work Duff's done this year. He's been fantastic, working with a budget that's probably lower than Dundalk and Bows by a significant margin. To get them into this position is a huge achievement. So Shells, I think, can be proud of the season that they've had, but obviously at this stage it's all about results, and they need to get that just to leave them in that position before the cup final. But they do have the toughest game, as I mentioned. They travel to Drogheda, which is a fortress. Drogheda have made their home games a really good good asset for them this season. The fans have been brilliant in Drogheda so far this year, and they'll be looking to finish the season on a high. The only thing that might be a caveat here, and why it could be a little bit easier for Shells to play them now in Drogheda rather than a different stage of the season, is that maybe Drogheda players will be taking their foot off the gas a touch. They're obviously not in any danger of relegation. They're obviously not in any trouble of they're not going to be troubling any of the European spots, so they are in that kind of comfortable mid-table zone. So maybe it's like a case of being on the beach. You do kind of see that for a lot of these kind of teams coming towards the end of the season. But for Drogheda, they'll be wanting to finish the season on a high. They'll be playing without pressure, and that could lead to some problems for Shells themselves. So really interesting battle there, and that'll be the one that most fans have an eye on this Friday night, the biggest fixture of the weekend by a mile. Shelbourne, of course, will probably adopt maybe a defensive enough approach, thinking that a point will secure fourth place. It'd be very unlikely that a point won't do it for Shells. So they're in a really good position. But as I said, it's a tough fixture for them, and they'll be hoping that they can secure all 3 points, of course. They obviously have players that can cause problems for Drogheda. Obviously, Harry Wood's been fantastic since coming in. Will Jarvis has chipped in with some really big moments. It's about both of those lads coming in from Hull at the midway point of the season and have definitely impressed. So and then of course the big one is Jack Moyle in his final game for Shelbourne. He'll be looking to finish on a high as well. He's been fantastic, and we only have to look back a couple of days ago to UCD at Talca Park when Jack Moylan, his hat-trick, secured all 3 points for Shells. Obviously 2 penalties he dispatched excellently, and then his third goal to win it in the last couple of minutes was absolutely outstanding. And if he can get a goal here and secure fourth place for Shells, he kind of leaves the club nearly as an icon of the club really at this stage. He's been fantastic for the last couple of seasons he's been here, and he'll be looking to go out on a high. But yeah, those are kind of the predicaments for Friday night. But it's more than likely that fourth spot will not have secured European football until the FAI Cup final is contested in the Aviva Stadium on November 12th. We of course have St Patrick's Athletic against Bohemians, and Bohemians probably the least likely to get that fourth spot on the final day, so they will be putting everything into this cup final. They go into it not in the best of form. They've been a little bit hit and miss as of late. Defensively they've looked a bit suspect at times. Then Pats in their own regard have been good lately. Obviously they did suffer defeat to Shamrock Rovers last week, but all in all they've been quite good lately. They've actually beaten Bows at Dalymount Park in the last couple of weeks, which will give them a huge amount of confidence going into that cup final. We will have so much content heading into that cup final next week, so make sure to stay tuned for all that. We'll be going into it in great detail. But for now, it's all about the result we're going to be discussing in this video, and if Bohemians can pull off a victory in that one, they will gain that last European spot, and it'll be a heartbreak for whether it be Shells or Dundalk who do end up securing fourth place. So yeah, it all will come down to the Aviva Stadium on November 12th, and it is a case of form will go out the window, and a cup final is just so hard to predict. Anything can happen in those games, so it's going to be a really tense and edgy affair. It'd be great if you could let me know who you think is going to secure fourth place on the final day down in the comments below. And then yeah, of course we will have all this content coming up next week. We'll have a few other videos this week. We're going to be looking into Shamrock Rovers and their title victory, and a couple of other bits and pieces this week as well. So yeah, make sure to stay tuned to it all. We have so much more to come, and again, yeah, apologies for the lack of content as of late, but we are 100% back, 1,000,000%. If you did enjoy the video, guys, please do drop a like on it down below, and as I said at the start of the video, if you are new around here, make sure to subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in a bit.